because there's definitely lots of questions within our community of how we should treat people who are in the LGBTQ community, and even in the so I've been helping out this past couple of months with the National Ilsham uh, program, and then one of the questions that they ask that they asked was like how we should treat or how we should view these the the people who are questioning their sexuality. Even someone in our youth community asked me the same thing, and I told him like I'll have an answer some other time, not right now.
You just deflected.
Um, yeah, I didn't want to say anything too
Yeah.
Hmm.
concrete or anything, but I was just wondering what you thought about any possible solutions or
Like how to be more
uh,
supportive
Right.
yeah,
for people who are
Right.
questioning. Like what would have made a big impact for you
right,
growing
right,
up that would have
Right.
made you feel safe or giving you the space to explore.
Right. Yeah, I'm like, it's such a it's such a important question to answer, Torah, and like, um, I'm just looking at my own life, right? And like you pointed to, and I could see that like if I had someone in my life who was was like provided a space for me to share what life was really like for me, it could have changed everything. Like I spent many, many years suffering quietly, pretending like everything was fine and that I was like sincere and happy and doing the right thing. When in fact, what was really there was like, no one's ever going to love me. And that was like who I was for myself. No one's ever going to love me. And I just kind of look at like our church, and if they knew what that was really like for me, there would be no thought about trying to exclude me or reject me or push me away. If they really knew what it was like for me, they just want to love me. You know, they people would want to embrace me, right? And so I think what I wish I could have had was just someone to hold space, to not try and fix me or change me or throw their opinion at me, but to really just hear me and listen to me, be with me. And I think that takes like getting curious about people, like being willing to hear what it's like for them. And I know that's like more of a concept than an action to take, but it really like, I just, I see that people respond to the belief system that they have. There's like a reaction to like when they hear homosexuality, there's like a right wrongness about it. And they respond to the concept or the view that they have about it versus responding to the person, like the real human person that has a
Hmm.
whole life
Yeah.
that has, and like,
Hmm.
you know, before I came out publicly and like I was, you know, in my community, I just finished being, you know, I was a pastor. I'd spent many, many years taking care of so many people, investing my heart, my soul, my time into like taking care of the Unification Church in my own way. And when I came out publicly, I posted on Facebook about a year and a half ago. Um, there were a few people who really had a hard time being with it.
Hmm.
And they really strongly reacted, like tears, sadness, sobbing, upset. People texted me, "What do you think you're doing? Why are you doing this? You're wrong." Like
Hmm.
people texted me that.
Those are some
Firsthand texted
visceral
me that.
responses.
Yeah. And it like, and I had all the space in the world to be with it, but I got that they weren't responding to me,
Oh.
responding to their view about me, some
Hmm.
opinion about this is right or wrong and you shouldn't be. It had nothing to do with me.
Right.
And so I also posted in that Facebook post, like, the person I was before who posted this is the same exact person who posted after it. And
Hmm.
I haven't changed at all. Just being honest about what's really been there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like,
for
I'm
sure.
attracted to men. Whoa. As it's like I'm the same person. I've been that way for the whole time that you've ever known
Yeah.
me. And I'm awesome.
So, did you like me 5 years ago? Well, guess what? I was the same person.
Right. Yeah. The same exact person. So
Yeah.
like I think it's important for us to separate our views about what's right and wrong from just like people that they're actual humans that have a whole story and a
I
journey.
wanted to ask you about that. This whole time I've been biting on this question. Why did you post publicly about your sexuality?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's such a personal thing that it's something to be like, yeah, I'm going to come out about it. You tell your family, you tell your close friends, the people who matter. But like, why bother and tell the whole community?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just got to a point where pretending no longer worked for me, given who I was and what I was committed to in life. And for me, I have a huge sense of mission and a huge sense of like being committed to making a difference in the world during my lifetime. And so I knew that I couldn't continue to expand or level up without being authentic about what was really what was really there.
You felt like you were hiding it.
Yeah, and I couldn't elevate or get to a what I want to say. I couldn't become the kind of person I always dreamed of being unless I got responsible for what I was hiding in front of people.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Because people know, people can sense it. People would be around me and they'd be like, "Oh, you're," and I would say like, "Oh, I want to be with a woman." I'd say that like to a stranger, someone who's not in our church. I'd be like, "You're not gay," and I like people can sense that
They can intuit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
I
like
thought you drank red wine.
Right. And I was always upset. I always got so upset and hurt that people would know that about me without me telling them. It was like so upsetting to me for X, Y, and Z reason because I wasn't comfortable with it. I couldn't be with it. But people know who you are. They know when you're pretending. They can sniff it out on you. So I knew that given what I wanted to create in my life, I couldn't continue to pretend. And so, yeah. So I knew that I had to share with everyone.
I see.
In my life. And I shared with my parents, and a lot of my friends knew for a long time, but not everyone. And once I shared, it gave me space to actually to explore and pursue and not feel like I was hiding while I was exploring or hiding while I was looking anymore. I just didn't want to live a life of hiding anymore.
So thank you for answering that question. I just realized that I derailed your Taurus question by asking you in the middle of that. So what would you feel like would make a measurable impact for you if the church did something different to make you feel more included, or that you had a safe space to?
Well, I just saw something when you asked that newly, Justin. It's like, I don't know if the church is actually committed to making a safe space for people like me.
I don't think so either.
And it's okay. It's actually okay if we're being honest about that, because based on our belief system and the kind of view that our church offers to the planet, you know, the unification, the divine principle, everything that we believe in, man, woman, child, God, right? Ideal family. There's actually no space for anything other than that. And that view.
You could argue it like that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So like,
it sucks because it's like, it's like as a young adult minister, I definitely want to create a space where that I'd hope my community would feel that they could come clean or share, or I don't know, come clean is the wrong word. Express or share.
I think confide in you is the better word.
And it's just like, how can I communicate or convey that I uphold the values of the church and the blessing, and I also love you no matter what, and that's very real, and that it's like, if it makes me sad to hear someone who's like, a church member who wants to be in the church but also wants to be homosexual, because it's like, well, you'll never be given the blessing like I was, because there's no space for it. And I don't know that our religious community will ever have like a same-sex blessing. And I'm sure there are probably a few viewers whose ears just exploded me saying that word, like and they throw their headphones across the room, because it's like that goes against everything that the blessing is about. It's about man, woman, having a family, and it's like, so that there could never be a productive same-sex blessing, and that it makes God weep and all that. But I don't think that. I just think that it's like God loves us all, period. And I think there's so many memes of like Jesus sitting around like a crowd, right? And it says like, you should love everyone. And then someone's like, well, what if they're, and then it says something like black, or what if they're gay? And he says like, did I stutter, or something like that.
Right.
And I just think that it's like with God, it's like, if I've heard in Divine Principle lectures when they were like, God will love you no matter what, even if you murdered another one of his children, he would still love you. And it's like, what if you're gay? Like, no, not if that. It's like, it doesn't make any sense that God wouldn't make space.
It doesn't.
Even still.
Right. Can I say two things to that, Justin?
Yeah.
And I don't want to interrupt you.
No, please.
I'm personally not even interested in the game of trying to convince the Unification Church to accept or include homosexuality in their belief system. It's a losing game. It's not. There's never going to be. What do I want to say? It'll be an unuseful game to play to try to convince something to be right about something. I'm so not interested when it comes to my sexuality, trying to convince someone to agree with some point of view about what is right and wrong. Yeah. It so does not work for relationship or creating a world that works for everyone.
It's very true.
It so does not work.
Right.
So I'm much more interested in the possibility of, what would it look like to honor everyone, to honor their belief system, to honor each other, to accept, to practice love, to practice real unconditional love. Like, you don't need to be any way in order for me to love you.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent so much of my life trying to be some way in order to be loved by my parents. And even still, there's like a want for my parents to be some other way, which is, I honor them, I love them, they're incredible people, but it actually isn't unconditional love. It's like, you should be straight in order for me to be comfortable, in order for me to have what I want come true.
Right.
You need to be some other way in order for me to love you and accept you. That's not unconditional love. And we pretend like it is. We pretend like it is. And it's like, what would it look like to play a game called like, how do we honor everyone? How do we include everyone? How do we create a world that works for everyone? Versus try and get them to be some other way because it's the right way to be. That's what I make up, and that empowers me. It's not like the truth about how life is or how people should believe anything about this. It's just like, that is empowering for me. That's exciting for me. And I don't even have a certainty around like my sexuality being some way. I'm not committed to being with a man. I'm not committed to being with a woman or attached to one of those to prove something. I'm like open. I'm open to looking and exploring and seeing what's there, and how's life going to turn out for me. Maybe I'll go to like an inner child healing workshop and I'll heal this feminine spirit that's inside of me and I'll come out as being straight again. Like, who knows, right? And I'm open to that. Or maybe like there'll be some like spiritual shift on the planet, like harmonic convergence, Avatar: Last Airbender, Korra, and they'll be like, everyone will turn gay, or like everyone will be straight. Like, who knows? Right? Like, you don't know. Like, I think all there is for us to do, for me, this is my point of view, like it's just to be authentic, to be honest, and create space for others to be authentic and honest, and to honor them in their experience of life, to love them, to appreciate them, to learn from them. That's all I've ever wanted, is just to be seen by people. Just see, just see who I am, just know me. And I think that's all human beings want, is to be seen, to be known, to be loved.